So the Barrie Colts getting ready for a big matchup this week against the London Knights on Thursday. First in the West versus first in the East. I know a lot of fans are excited about this matchup. So I figured who else to talk to but Mike Stubbs, the radio voice for the London Knights. Mike, are you as excited as the fans are about this matchup coming up this week?
Well, you know what? The Knights have had a lot of big games recently, Mike, and they've been kind of building all the way. So it's been Windsor one game and then Kitchener another game, but out there has been the look at the other conference, the Barrie Colts, and the Barrie Colts came into Canada Life Place very early on this season, and they looked like a playoff team then. And then you look at the players that they have added, the way that they've been playing. I mean, look at the run that they've been on, and you start thinking, okay, if they look like a playoff team then, what do they look like now? And I think a lot of Knights fans are eager to find out.
And that game, that was Dallin Wakely's debut with the Barrie Colts, was against the London Knights, and he put on quite the performance in that game. And since then, he's been quite the regular. Now he's been reunited with Romani and Van Steensel. So you've got that top line against a London Knights team that's also very deep. And it's a lot of people focus on Easton Cowan, but it's more than that, right? With the London Knights.
It is. There are a lot of players who know what it takes to now win an OHL championship, to get to a Memorial Cup final. So it is. It's kind of a team that will come at you in waves, and that's one of the things that you hope to have in junior hockey. So Denver Barkey started this year. He led the Knights in scoring last year, and he started the year with mono. And so it held him out of Knights training camp. It held him out of Philadelphia Flyers training camp. And it also had him on maybe a slower return to full strength, because even Denver himself will say with mono, if you come back too quickly, you can really have some fatigue issues that follow you. And it's almost like you can trace Denver Barkey's season back to December 31st, when it seemed like a switch was flipped. And it was on New Year's Eve, and he had a good New Year's Eve game. And then he just went off, and he had 21 points in 7 games, and he has just been a catalyst ever since. And then you throw in some of the other dimensions that the Knights have: Sam O'Reilly, the growth of Will Nickel, who has been tremendous this year, Casper Halttunen, and that big shot, getting Blake Montgomery. He came from the USHL. And normally, and you've seen this with players, if you come out of another league, it'll take you roughly half a season. And then that second half of the season, or if you join in November, you wait those 3 months. And then from then on, you're big, you're doing things. Blake Montgomery's learning curve was so quick, where little things that he might have tried in his first game, they didn't work. He didn't do them anymore. And he has been a dynamite addition to this roster. So up front, like the Barrie Colts, there's an awful lot of depth that can play an awful lot of ways. I don't know which way we're going to go see the game go, but again, eager to see and find out.
And what really stands out to me when I'm watching London Knights games is how each game they can adapt on the fly, no matter who they're playing against. It feels like they can play any game you give them. Is that the coaching system, or is it that the players are buying into what this team is capable of, especially with the mentality of falling just short of Memorial Cup championship last year?
It does start with the coaches, and it does start with what they have laid out, and it does start with the players trusting that system. And for many years now, you've had older players saying, no, trust what we're doing here. It will work. Listen to what is happening. You can look back to a Luke Evangelista, who didn't score a goal in his rookie year, and then when he left the OHL, he led the league in goals with 55. So it's that kind of thing. That old line, trust the process. And so yeah, there is some flexibility in the way that the team can play. And I think there have been games this year where you see them really physical, but at the same time, you can't play like that for the 68 game regular season. There will be nothing left of you come playoff time. And so in this case, the Knights, yeah, they can play that way. They do have just the ability to skate hard. They're a very good skating team, and they're never going to let up. I mean, no game is ever over, and I think that's something that last year's run really taught them.
And one thing too that I've noticed is that throughout the year, a lot of people are comparing the Colts and the Knights on the blue line. For Barrie, they've got a defense that likes to join the rush. They're contributing with the offense. They've got some size back there. But the London Knights as well, they're very comparable. They've got the size and they also got the experience.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what they've done in previous years, Mike. Like Sam Dickinson's first year was the year that the Knights went to the OHL Championship Series and lost to the Peterborough Petes. So, what a great opportunity to learn. And you look at Sam Dickinson and the way that he has played this year. He's been tremendous. I would have argued very early on in the season, this guy might not just be the best defenseman in the league. He would be in the conversation for best player in the league. And he's just kept things going from there. And Oliver Bonk has been so steady. And then the goaltending tandem of Alexei Medvedev and Austin Elliott, where if you go back to the start of this year, the London Knights basically brought both of these guys in. Alexei Medvedev, pure rookie in the Ontario Hockey League. He played in the GOJHL, the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League last year as a 16-year-old, but he's come in and all he has done is get better and better and better. And then Austin Elliott won 3 games for the Saskatoon Blades. The Blades had a goaltender named Evan Gardner, second-round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets, only 18. They probably weren't going to be able to give 2 goaltenders the kind of workload that they each needed to be that number one, even though they deserved either a 1 or 1A status. And so Austin Elliott winds his way to the OHL through the Barrie Colts and to the London Knights. And they've been just an outstanding tandem. And as you well know, because you've got great goaltending in Barrie, when you've got somebody behind you who's stopping the puck, you feel pretty comfortable, and that offense and that transition game, it has a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, and I was going to mention the goaltending too, because I feel like they don't get as much attention as maybe they deserve. And maybe that's because of the players in front of them that everyone's focused on the offense and the defense. But for guys like Medvedev and Elliott, they've really embraced their role. And even though they don't have a lot of playing experience in the OHL, they look very comfortable whenever they're in the crease.
Well, they've been just such a great tandem because you've got a 20-year-old in Austin Elliott, you've got a 17-year-old in Alexei Medvedev, so you've got that mentorship that goes on. There is no question they've been rotating in the crease game after game after game. So it's not like I think the only thing that changes that is if one of them gets a shutout. I think then they get to
Mm.
start that next game. But Alexei Medvedev came over from St. Petersburg, Russia. And he tells a story where at 14, his family kind of made the decision that he would come to Toronto. He had some family in Toronto and he would play in the GTHL. And he did very well there and wound up being a second round pick of the London Knights. And Austin Elliott is really looking at this as his opportunity to show what he can do. He's been to a couple of NHL camps, one for Toronto, one for Nashville, and he's just recently signed with UMass Lowell to go and play NCAA next year, which gives him, again, a whole lot more years to be seen by scouts because his nickname, it goes to wrestling, but Stone Cold Austin Elliott, he carried it with him from Saskatoon. That really does describe him in the crease. He just has this calm demeanor. He really doesn't overplay pucks. He's someone who's very good with the amount of moving around he does. He just makes saves.
And here at the time of recording, we only know so much about what's going on with Cam Allen. And obviously, this is going to have an impact on this London Knights team going forward. Talk a bit about this situation. Do you see this being as something that the Knights are obviously going to have to put in the back of their minds, but continue to play the fact that they've been through injuries before, they've had players out of the lineup. It's kind of a next man up approach right now for this team, is it not?
I think every team tries to have that very same thing because you never know what is going to come up on the ice, off the ice through the course of a season, and it's really all you can do. And so it gives opportunities to other players, and it gives an opportunity for those players to then show what they can do.
And last time we chatted last year, we were talking about a milestone involving Dale Hunter behind the bench. But I understand this year you had a pretty significant milestone, broadcasting 2,000 games in the OHL. Talk a bit about your experience in the league and just did it surprise you that 2,000 came up as fast as it did for you?
I don't know who counted. Like, I have no idea who counted. Thank you to them. They've never come forward and said that they did it. It was really, really nice for the London Knights to do that because I'm a passenger with what has been an incredible ride. I mean, this team wins games at a clip that you can't believe. They just won their 40th game in a season for the 17th time in the last 24 years. And in 11 of those, they've won 49 or more. So there are very few nights that you leave the rink after a loss. And I think the fans feel that too. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be involved with this organization from top to bottom. They are just first class, and I can't say enough about them. And to be able to do what I've been able to do, to see the things we've been able to see, you wake up lucky.
Well, and it's a lot of miles on the bus, I'm sure, and every moment, it's got to be something for you to be able to, realize you're doing a job that a lot of us, it's like a hobby for us. We don't take it like it's, life changing or whatever for the world, but at the same time, it is a chance for people to escape. They're listening to the broadcasts, and it's something that we just can't take for granted.
Yeah, I've yet to give anyone stitches to close a wound or anything, and no one wants me doing that. But at the same time, you're right. You're not changing the world, but it's an absolute thrill to be able to see and do what you get to do in this role. And so I'm very grateful for being able to do it.
Now, is there something that stands out from those 2000 broadcasts? Something that maybe a highlight for you, or something that maybe you didn't expect to broadcast on?
I just always like to be able to do the next one. Even if there's one more, I'll take it. I've always wanted to do this. I was 5 years old coming back from a Christmas celebration in Tillsonburg, Ontario, through a snowstorm with my family, and I had an O-Pee-Chee hockey card poster tucked under my arm. And I couldn't wait to get home. We didn't get home till 2 a.m. And I ran to the kitchen. I wasn't supposed to use scissors, but I knew where they were. And I went and grabbed them while everybody else unloaded everything from the vehicle. And I started cutting out those hockey cards because I wanted to play a game and call the game. So it's always kind of been there. So to be fortunate enough to be in the position I am and being able to do this, yeah, I'll take that next game for as long as it lasts.
Well, Mike, congrats on the 2000 games, and enjoy the game coming up here on Thursday.
You too, Mike. Thanks for this.
So that's Mike Stubbs, the radio voice for the London Knights. Always great to chat with Mike Stubbs. He's got such great experience calling the London Knights. One of the more iconic voices around the Ontario Hockey League. When you're calling a game, you can't miss his voice if you're in the broadcast booth, even at the end of the booth at the Saddlein Arena. So it's always great to chat with Mike. And of course, it's going to be a big game Thursday night between the Knights and the Colts. We'll have Puck Drop on Rogers TV, and of course, it's a 7 p.m. start. And then post game, I'll also do a recap video, as I'm sure we were going to have a few things to talk about coming out of that hockey game on Thursday. So again, thank you very much for your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.